From time to time we need a break, and I had a fabulous one in Spain the last 2 weeks. And so in this video I'd like to show you some beautiful sights and my favorite watches for that trip. Welcome to Caseback Watches. My name is Tim, and in this episode I'd like to deliver 3 watches and some tourist information. Because the weather in October here was a record of rain, so we decided to fly to Spain, to Malaga, south of Spain, close to the Mediterranean Sea, and we visited there a town called Nerja, and the entire region is called Costa del Sol. So beautiful, that name. So this was the plan. We did it. It was absolutely great. And so the idea for this video is to show you the place we went and give you some information about it, show you my 3 watches. If you're a subscriber, you know these watches. It's basically my usual rotation, or in my inner circle rotation, so to speak. But I find it always interesting to see watches in a different light, literally in a different light in this video here. And so without further ado, let's dive into beautiful Andalusia. Let's see sights and watches. The first thing that struck me was the light. Costa del Sol means, of course, coast of the sun. And that term was invented in 1928 by the hotel owner Rodolfo Luznik. And I thought, okay, that's some sort of propaganda. But in reality, this part of the coastline around Malaga has over 300 sunny days every year. And the light is incredible. I don't know if it's Sahara dust because Africa is close. And I've seen this light many times in Madeira, and there it was caused by tiny sand fragments in the air, at least partly. The coastline also benefits from a chain of mountains that works a bit like a shield against heavy weather from the north. And so after the season, until let's say late November, a day with 24 degrees Celsius is perfectly normal. It might rain slightly more than during the summer, but we also enjoy these days because they turn the place into a little South America. You have this great nature, and a city guy like me goes crazy when he sees bananas, avocado, papaya, all sort of fruits just along the way. Speaking of ways, you also find signs of the Romans here in form of old aqueducts like this one you see here. And also an incredible sensation is a visit of the Cueva de Nerja, the cave of Nerja, discovered in 1959 by 5 curious boys. And I've seen my part of caves, and I always found them, well, cavey. But the Cueva de Nerja is just some sort of natural palace. It's huge. I mean huge in the sense that you could use it as an opera house. Hard to film, but there in the background you might see some people that give you an impression of the scale. And in the middle of the cave I had that idea to shoot material for another episode of my shorts, Watches in the Wild, with a Laurier Neptune on my wrist. But the iPhone went crazy with all these lights in the middle of darkness, and it was impossible to film anything decent. But the Laurier was also an excellent pick for the beach that we visited almost every day. Black sand, not my favorite color, but alright. When we arrived though, the sea was mild and warm, believe it or not. And my younger daughter and I went swimming just with fins and diving goggles, and we stayed like 20 minutes in the water, without wetsuit of course, and all this with the Laurier. It turned into my summer beater watch, is covered now with scratches, and call me crazy, but I like it that way. It looks great, to be honest, and I always found it a smidge big on me, 39mm, but I made peace with that size now. I will keep that watch for sure. And my second timepiece was my prototype of the 47-0 bronze, 36mm Swiss caliber, with one of these impressive dials with that blue that matches the entire scene. And I don't know if Cormac wants to hear that, but for me that watch is an outdoor watch for bright days. I've also worn it in the city, of course, in rooms, but under daylight it's a completely different watch with a doubled or tripled effect. Just look at these colors and the reflections. Back to the sea. One night a storm went through, and the next morning I made my usual jump into the water, and boy, that was cold suddenly. New current during the night, I suppose. And luckily there was a hotel pool, and yes, I admit we just booked that tourist hotel directly in front of the shore, all inclusive with pool and buffet and stuff. And I know this can be seen critic, keyword over tourism. But at least we're friendly people who try not to bother the locals too much. And now to the locals, extremely friendly. My Spanish is not really in existence, and so I spoke mostly Portuguese, and they took it pretty well. And Nerja is such a lovely place, relaxed, but also with some posh looking places like the Balcón de Europa with insane views. And for these trips into the city, restaurants, cafes, museums and other civilized places, I took my Oris point today with me, 36mm and 90s on the original bracelet. And I presented that watch more than one time here on the channel, and for a reason. Puts you really in another mood. And now allow me a bit of advertising. Taking 3 watches on a travel is a good number, and you can do that with a decent case. Caseback Watches offers these. The first one here is made by me, and with that I mean that I really do it stitch after stitch. Expensive, yes, but there is no cost cutting whatsoever. It's super high quality and will last decades. The same applies to the watch roll I offer, made in the Black Forest in Germany by a small company, and again no cost cutting whatsoever. You will notice a huge difference to factory made Chinese rolls within the first minute you have it, worth every euro or dollar, and available at casebackwatches.com. Alright, that was the Costa del Sol, that was Nerja and 3 watches, and now let's carry on with your timepieces. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this little trip to Andalusia. And by the way, I'm wearing right now that Oris on leather, which delivers a nice, very, very classy look together with the Caseback watch strap #1. And now, as usual, your images, your watches sent to casebackwatches@icloud.com. And I like to start with, let me check my notes, James from Canada. He delivers this, a mod. Hi Tim, here is my mod using a beautiful, colorful blue dial from Watch Noted. The backdrop is the colors of fall here in Northern Ontario. Always enjoy your videos. Thank you very much, James. Unfortunately, I cannot comment on mods because I don't know anything about it. Perhaps this is a nice topic for one of the future videos, and then I really have to do some homework. So interesting look and a good idea perhaps for one of the next videos. And the next image here, the next watch comes from Munich, from Günther. And he writes, "Hi Tim, my name is Günther from Munich and I sent you a picture of my Zin 104 in blue from the last Oktoberfest. It is so nice and quiet to have lunch on the Wiesn, how we call it in Munich, on a sunny day during the week. There are less people than in the evening and you can enjoy a Schweinebraten and 1 Maß of Oktoberfest beer." This is so funny. Best regards from Munich. Schweinebraten is pork roast, I think. You can translate it. Post-rock and Maß of beer, of course, is 1 liter of beer. And I love the people there that they have lunch during the week with 1 liter of beer. Unheard of in Northern Germany. You would get fired for that, really. And I had once a flight to Munich, or a connection flight, something like that, and I had to, I had 1 or 2 hours in Munich at the airport, and there is this place called Keva, is a caterer for the Oktoberfest, and he has some restaurants and stuff. And there you can get the original Munich breakfast. Consists of a white sausage, a britzel, and that huge thing of beer, and they served that until 11 o'clock. So I delivered a decent sprint through the airport, which is pretty large. And then I arrived at 11:30 and I had to talk a bit, but then they said, okay, all right, we'll give you that breakfast. And then for the connection flight, I was in a very, very good mood. So great city of Munich. And the next watch comes from Gils from Belgium. And he writes, "Hi Tim, Indian summer in Bruges, enjoying the weather and the Seiko Alpinist Ginza. In the blurry background, City Hall and Chapel of the Holy Blood. Greetings, Gils." Thank you very much. There's this interesting movie where 2 hitmen hide themselves in Bruges with Colin Farrell, I think. Great movie. Somewhat disturbing because it's very geeky and very strange, but I remember it clearly, and I remember this wonderful city with these large old buildings, really something to explore. And that Seiko Alpinist Ginza, never seen before. This is complete new, and this is a sector dial, and this demonstrates again that you really have your surprises with Seiko. There are so many variants and interesting pieces, let alone the modding people there. Okay, Gilles, thank you very much for sending this in. Dear viewer, if you want to participate here, then you can send in wrist shots or other shots you find interesting, or a combination of both, horizontal works best, to caseback@icloud.com. And that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for following me here through my vacation. I know this is a bit personal, but I thought you could find it interesting and fun to watch. All right, that's it. Thank you very much and see you next Friday.